Does anybody know who this is? Does anybody remember a song from the year 2008/2009? A song that went something like "Beautiful Girl, You Make Me," and then I can't say the word on YouTube. You know, "Beautiful Girl," I can't sing. Anyway, yes, you guessed it in the chats. Beautiful Girl song guy, Kingston. Exactly. Yes. So, guess what, you guys? Sean Kingston. This is, I think, his mugshot. So the gentleman who sang the song back in 2008, 2009, I guess he was a one-hit wonder. I'm not so sure because like everybody only remembers that one song. So Sean and his mom, Janice Turner, have both been apprehended, if you know what I mean, in Florida. Sean Kingston and mother, as reported by Yahoo News, have been found guilty of fraudulently obtaining luxury watches, a car, and many more things. We're talking about a pretty penny here. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida. The Floridian audacity. Here we go again with Florida. I mean, you can't make this shit up. It's always Florida. But it is very interesting how there's always a new way. There's always a new way to find a way to get away with fraud in Florida, isn't there? So the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida also alleges Kingston leveraged his celebrity status and often persuaded his victim vendors to stray from their regular business practices and convince them to either supply or deliver their goods and services prior to receipt of full payment. Now, here's the thing. When I read this, I thought to myself, so Sean got apprehended doing this. Now, who does this remind me of? And who might have Sean got inspired by to do this? Let me think. As I say, everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's alleged and just my opinion. I also say thank you for subscribing. Let's get to 100K. Thumb up this video. And here's, yes, a little, sentence buzzes in my ear. Does Yolok Pa ring a bell? Does the money is on the way? I don't have time for this. I don't have time for you. Does that ring a bell? Yeah. Anna Delvey. Anna Delvey, baby. Anna Delvey. Wasn't she the one who just a couple of years ago was telling people, look, you can ship over the mattress, you can ship over the bed, ship over everything, give me the suite to the hotel room, and don't worry, the money is on the way. Look, I am an heiress to a big fortune somewhere in Europe. I'm good for it. I'm good for it. Okay, I got the money. And then people say, okay, they believe her, they give her the stuff and then she doesn't pay, right? That's the shtick. So apparently, yeah, oh my God, Nectarine Man in the live chat says, hey, I was famous 15 years ago, send me money. Well, that's the thing that kind of surprised me, but then again, it's Florida. So Sean does have a song that it was very popular in the year 2008/2009, which is Beautiful Girl. Everybody sang it. It's an earworm still to this day. But then after that, we don't really know. So apparently he was going from place to place telling people, hey, I'm the guy who sang Beautiful Girl. Can you ship me over a car and I'm good for it? I'll pay it later. And apparently he managed to convince people to do it together with his mom. I mean, only in Florida. I love the idea of the mother-son kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, but the version is mother and son, right? Not like lovers, not like partners, not Bonnie and Clyde, not Thelma and Louise. No, it's mother and son. And I need to see like a Lifetime TV movie made about this because it's interesting. According to yeah, okay, so Kingston 35 and Turner, the mom, are scheduled to be sentenced on July 11th. Each count has a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. According to the mother and son's July indictment, the duo conspired to commit wire fraud between April 2023 and March 2024. In other words, they showed intent to defraud and to obtain money and property by means of materially false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises. The indictment claimed Kingston and Turner sought to unjustly, we quote, enrich themselves by falsely representing that they had executed bank wire or other monetary payment transfers as payment for vehicles, jewelry, and other goods. They were accused of keeping the items despite never paying for them. Some of their ill-gotten gains included 3 watches, which involved fake wire transfer for $285,000 and $480,000, $160,000 car, and $40,000 worth of audio and video equipment. The U.S. Attorney's Office for Southern District of Florida, where else, also alleges Kingston leveraged his celebrity status and often persuaded his victim vendors to stray from their regular business practices and convinced them to either supply or deliver their goods and services prior to receipt of full payment. Now, as they were taking away his mom out of the court, allegedly he kind of screamed to the police officers like, keep her safe, whatever you do, protect my mom. And it says the 35-year-old rapper, whose real name is Kisian Anderson, was crying with his hands clasped as the jury read its verdict inside the Fort Lauderdale federal court. What did he cry? He cried to save his mom. His mom was accused by the judge of being the fixer and nerve center in charge of the scheme, as her past convictions for similar crimes painted her as being in charge of the scheme. Mama Kingston, as she is known on Instagram, was ordered to be held at the Broward County Jail after the judge considered her to be a flight risk because of her testimony during the trial. She served a year and a half in prison after pleading guilty to stealing over $160,000 in a bank fraud scheme back in 2006. Okay, Mama Kingston, we've been around the block a couple of times, I see. This isn't your first time at the rodeo, allegedly. Kingston's defense team described him as a child who did not understand finances and would spend the money with no regard. He did not testify during the trial. Protect my mother, the rapper cried out as U.S. Marshals took Turner into custody. Kingston was placed under house arrest and with bond conditions of a $200,000 surety bond in cash. They're like, honey, you're not going to tell us you wired the money for your bail. You got to pay us the $200,000 in cash if you want to be bailed out of jail as you're waiting your verdict on the 11th of July coming up this year. So, he also has to put up a relative's $500,000 house as part of the bond requirement. Kingston remained silent and didn't answer questions from reporters as he left the courthouse after his conviction. The arrests stemmed from a civil lawsuit filed against the rapper by Ver Entertainment LLC in February 2024. that sought payment of damages for breach of contract and fraud after Kingston ordered the 232-inch colossal TV and a sound system for his home. 232-inch? I'm trying to figure how big is 232-inch. That's huge. 232-inch television. Yeah, that's big. That's pretty big, you guys. That's like the size of a wall of a house. That's the size of a wall of a house. To lower the price, of the $111,000 purchase, you can't make this shit up. To make it cheaper for him, Kingston supposedly promised to make promotional videos about the products with his friend, Justin Bieber, baby. Okay? The suit said, Justin Bieber. The commercials were never made and Bieber was never involved. Who knew? Who knew? They are accused of stealing almost $500,000 in jewelry, more than $200,000 from the Bank of America, $160,000 from the Escalade dealer, more than $100,000 from First Republic Bank, $86,000 from the maker of customized beds. Now, hear me out, you guys. Did I miss the memo here in the luxury sphere? Because $86,000 for a luxury bed? Didn't we report about this just a couple of weeks ago in another video where I was talking about Netflix paying $11 million to a producer of a movie, and they sent it to his private bank account and he spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on mattresses? And now I read this other fraudulent case where somebody spent $86,000 on a luxury bed. What am I missing here? What's up with these mattresses? Why is everybody buying hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of mattresses? What am I missing here? Prosecutors said Kingston and Turner unjustly enriched themselves, telling various sellers they sent out wire transfers for payment towards high-end vehicles and jewelry when the banks had executed no such transfers. Anna Delvey playbook, classic. They had obtained over $1 million worth of possessions through the scheme. Victims of the ruse testified the mother and son duo defrauded them out of a bulletproof Cadillac Escalade, darling. Escalade. A colossal TV and hundreds of thousands of dollars in watches. Kingston and Turner were successfully sued on 2 separate occasions and forced to pay over $300,000 in both cases. The two had to dish out another $356,000 in 2015 after they were accused in New York City federal court of failing to pay a customized watch seller. Now, hear me out. Okay, I'm not the best person with money, by no means. I mean, I see a shiny object, I think it's super cute, and I go, ooh, I want it, and I buy it. And then I come home and I'm like, oh, sure. Look, we've all been there. We've all had buyer's remorse. But honestly, it's so on another level to not have the money, but still go for $356,000 that you don't have and then spend that money that you don't have on watches. And I'm like, you don't have the money. Like, pay your rent or pay off the mortgage, do something to live. But this is like on a whole other level. Kingston and Turner were successfully sued on 2 separate occasions. Oh, sorry, I read that one right. There, 3 years later, so this was in 2015. Then 3 years later, the mother-son duo had to pay $301,000 to a New York jeweler who claimed they scammed the store out of 9 items. On May 23, federal agents raided Kingston's South Florida mansion, arresting Turner in the process. The rapper was performing at Fort Irwin in California's Mojave Desert for the U.S. Army MWR program at the time. Law enforcement officers detained the rapper before he was booked into the San Bernardino jail. He had already been on 2 years probation for trafficking stolen property when he was busted. Cha. He later agreed to fly back to Florida to face his charges. The two face up to 20 years in prison, the maximum for federal wire fraud cases, while the sentencing hearings were set. It says here were set, I guess are set or were set for July 11th. Yeah, guys, that's a lot of money. And it's not like you got caught in the moment, whatever, and you did it once and you feel terrible and you're going to pay for your crime. It's like you kept doing it over and over and over again. Ooh. But as they say, there is nothing like mother's love. Opens up a whole new perspective about mother's love, though, if you think about it from this perspective. It's still a form of love, though. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think? Subscribe. Let's get to 100K. Thumb up this video. And good luck to everybody involved in this case. You're innocent until proven guilty. But I guess they're just expecting the verdict at this point. So it's like, you know. But there you go. And I hope that the people who lost their money get their money back. And I hope that the people who lost all those objects get those objects back. And I hope the damages can be minimized to best case scenario to zero, like where you don't lose anything. Or if it's not possible to minimize the losses to zero, to minimize them as much as possible. Good luck to everybody. Never give up on love.